Over the past 24 hours, activity on the lower east rift zone has continued. There's been active fountaining at some of the fissures, although it's kind of decreased in activity over the last 24 hours a little bit. So fissure 17 had been pretty active with an active lava flow heading over a mile to the east. That's still growing, but at a really slow rate. Some other fissures were active overnight according to field crews. That includes reactivation of fissure 13, lots of gas emissions, lots of SO2 coming out of all the fissures. So activity continues on the lower east rift zone. The big action over the last day or so has been up at Halemaumau crater. Yesterday morning we started to see some pretty intense ash emissions from the crater. The highest that the cloud of the ash reached was about 12,000 feet above sea level. And winds were pushing that ash down to the southwest over the Kau Desert area. We had some reports of ashfall, trace amounts of ashfall in the downwind direction. Because of that activity at the crater that went on for a few hours, HVO raised the aviation color code from orange to red. That aviation color code to red is just an indication to the aviation community that there's significant amounts of ash from the eruptive activity. So we've had some questions from folks about what code red means. It sounds a little bit alarming. It's really just to say that we see significant amounts of ash from this ongoing activity and to warn aviators about that ash. It doesn't mean that a really big eruption is imminent. It's really just characterizing that aviation situation. So that's what's going on up at Halemaumau. Overnight things quieted a little bit, but we expect this kind of ash emission to wax and wane, get more or less intense, given our dynamic situation. The winds are a little different today. The trade winds have slacked off, so there are some concerns that up in Volcano Village and in the park area we might get increased ashfall and of course SO2 over the next day or so. So that'll be a concern of folks in that area.
As if the residents of Hawaii Big Island don't have enough to worry about already, the U.S. Geological Survey is now warning residents of yet another threat: large rocks shooting from Kilauea crater. Several rocks, including one measuring 2 feet wide, have already fallen, but the situation could get even worse. It's been 2 weeks since Hawaii Kilauea volcano began erupting, and there's no apparent end in sight. At least 17 fissures have been recorded in the volcano's east rift zone, and ash plumes from the crater are raising the possibility of acid rain and volcanic smog, packed with noxious sulfur dioxide. The U.S. Geological Survey, or USGS, is warning that the eruption is still evolving and additional outbreaks of lava are possible, along with ongoing ground deformations and earthquakes. Earlier in the week, ash emissions from the Kilauea summit reached as high as 10,000 feet above sea level, causing headaches for both residential neighborhoods and airlines. The cloud drifted downwind from the volcano, dropping dust on communities from Pahala to Discovery Harbor. On Wednesday, a 4.2 magnitude quake shook the region in the early hours, and then the sky began to fall. This morning, dense ballistic blocks up to 60 centimeters, 2 feet, across were found in the parking lot a few hundred yards from Halemaumau, wrote the USGS in its advisory. These reflect the most energetic explosions yet observed and could reflect the onset of steam-driven explosive activity. Halemaumau is an active pit crater nestled within the larger summit caldera of Kilauea volcano. No damage or injuries have been reported, but the USGS is closely monitoring the projectile rock risk. Additional steam-driven explosions are expected, and it's possible they could be even more powerful. It's been nearly a century since Kilauea has hurled rocks like this, according to the USGS. During steam-driven explosions, ballistic blocks up to 2 meters, 6.5 feet, across could be thrown in all directions to a distance of 1 kilometer or 0.6 miles, or more. These blocks could weigh a few kilograms to several tons, the USGS said. Smaller, pebble-size, rocks could be sent several kilometers from Halemaumau, mostly in a downwind direction. Since Kilauea began erupting on May 3rd, Dozens of homes have been destroyed, and hundreds of people have been evacuated. The lake on the summit is still in the midst of deflating, heightening the risk of violent explosions.
New fissures opened up on Hawaii's Big Island in early May, spouting lava that destroyed homes. Landsat has been recording the lava flows since the eruption began in 1983. The most current image shown is from India's ResourceSat 2 satellite. In these images, green vegetated land is repeatedly covered with dark lava flows, and infrared imaging shows orange spots of heat. Eruptions from this volcano have a history of burying towns. The 1991 image shows a new lava flow that buried an entire community in 15 to 25 meters of lava. The image series also shows how the coastline of the island has changed as various lava flows reached the ocean. Landsat and other satellites continue to monitor the changing landscape of the island.